Are we live? That is the question. Go to the studio, YouTube studio, and see if we're live. I've no idea. Are we on Twitch live instead? I think I've accidentally gone live on Twitch, haven't I? Nope. Okay, who am I live to? I have no idea who I'm live to. Live. Oh, I am live on YouTube. Alright. Cool. So, today we're going to hack on some Chrome. First of all, we're going to put on the Twitters. Want to watch me build as slotted in Chrome? Want to join me in building as slotted in Chrome? Post. Masto. With the little posty post there. Why am I not logged in? Am I logged in? Why am I not logged in? Doop. And what's the other one? Blusky. Blusky. Anyone watching? You got one view, but that's maybe me. Sign in to Blusky. And we're gonna post here too. Bosh. Is that the right link? That's the right link. That's not the right. I'm fell. Whatever. That's a bit better. I'm quite green, but who cares? Oof. This isn't great, is it? What's up, Blusky? Can I do the post? Is that posted? We got some skeleton UI. Alright, so if I click through to that, is it going to go on? Yeah, it's going to go on here. Cool. Alright, peeps. We are going to hack on some Chrome. Although I might just also share with some others. How's your day anyway? Whilst we get cooking. Hey, Dimitri. How's it going? We're gonna be actually doing stuff in a second. I just getting warmed up for it. You're gonna have patience. Gotta have patience when doing this. This is the engaging content, right? 1, 2. Well, there's 2 of you on here now. If we can get to 3, viewers, then maybe I'll start. Share on your socials. I'm just sharing with a couple of other friends. Hacking on Chrome. So, we're going to be building Has Slotted today. Has Slotted is a new pseudo selector, and we figured out that we want this in sorry, you'll have to excuse me, I've got a bit of plane flu. So I was just at TPAC, which was in Anaheim, California, and obviously had to endure a 10-hour flight there and a 10-hour flight back, and I think on the 10-hour flight back it finally did me in, because, well, I felt like I had allergies in Anaheim, and I was testing negative for COVID. I'm still testing negative for COVID, but by the time I've made it back, I've just been in pieces, like streaming eyes, runny nose, all that kind of stuff. So you're gonna have to deal with that, but it's cool because we're actually gonna do some work. We're gonna do some fun stuff. So this right here is Has Slotted, and this was we discussed this at TPAC in Anaheim. TPAC is the annual W3C conference, and the CSS working group met, and they discussed a whole ton of stuff that like was way more clever than the things I know about. But we did discuss this one thing which I do know about, which is Has Slotted. There was a load of stuff about view transitions. I'm not smart enough to know about view transitions. I am smart enough to know about Has Slotted, just barely. So we're gonna hack on that. And so I did a little yesterday when I was like still severely in the throes of whatever this cold allergy thing is that I got. I was noodling on Has Slotted. Oh, I should let our Discord buddies know. I was noodling on Has Slotted, and I got like kind of most of it working, and we'll go through what is necessary for the next bits. And so this patch is pretty simple. We've got this runtime enabled feature. This gives us a new feature flag to work with, and it's going to be in the experimental web platform features. I spent all of yesterday building these feature status features on Chrome platform status, and so this just describes it. I was filing the issues for WebKit standards positions, for the Mozilla standards positions here. So yeah, all of the kind of rudimentary like logistical work, the liaisons with the browsers and such, to build all the tracking bugs and everything out. So yeah, so that's the feature. And then we just sort of define the pseudo in all the places. So we've got this pseudo Has Slotted enum. Here's the actual functionality for this, which I'll get to in a second. But yeah, proto converter Has Slotted. We need to tell it what kind of validation criteria this slotted selector has. Dropping my box tissues everywhere. This tells it, what's this one? Oh yeah, that this actually supports invalidation, because some pseudo selectors don't support invalidation. This will need to have invalidation, and this is the bit that we need to work on today. We've got this one, which is something or other. What is this? Oh yeah, there's also a function to check if it's allowed after a part, and has slotted should be allowed after a part for reasons, because it's a pseudo selector. The CSS working group also resolved to allow some more of these pseudo classes after part, and there's a separate feature flag for that, which is this CSS parts more selectors after, which is a very well named feature flag. But yes, this is one of those. What else have we got? This is the parser piece of this. And so we say if it's the pseudo has slotted, it can only be present when the pseudo has slotted enabled feature flag is enabled. And so otherwise it will return this pseudo unknown. In other words, it's an unknown pseudo selector unless you enable the flag. Here's the stringification. Here's the parser string value of this. This helps for serialization, deserialization. And then we have, what's this one? Pseudo ID. Yeah, cool. I have no idea what pseudo ID is. Basically, like a lot of these are like, as soon as you add the selector, you get a bunch of compile failures, and it says you haven't added this case to this switch, and so you go and add the case to the switch, and then it all fixes it. And then yeah, we've got this has slotted, which I just realized has lowercase d, so we can go fix that as the first thing. So, oops. Has slotted should have a capital D here. I don't know how I did the lowercase d. And then we'll build that, which should only take a second or two. So the big thing that we're missing is this handles all the parsing. This is the functionality. So when it encounters this pseudo selector, we do a check in debug mode to make sure that the feature flag is enabled. And then we say, well, the pseudo selector is only applicable to slot elements. And so we could probably go look at the spec for this, which I believe will state what I just said. Matches a slot. Matches slot elements. So we do a check. We dynamically cast the element argument to an HTML slot element. If we can't cast it to a slot element, we return false because this only matches on slot elements. And then if it matches, we just check if it has assigned nodes. And there's two methods for has assigned nodes. There's one that recalcs and there's one that doesn't. And we want the one that doesn't. So we're using has slot assigned no recalc. I'll zoom in a bit so you can see it a bit clearer. Yeah, has assigned nodes no recalc. So what we need to also do though, oh, this is rebuilding a ton now. That's cool. Why is it rebuilding a ton? I guess I changed the D, so we need to compile 20,000 more things. Oh no, I just want the content shell. Is why I'm not compiling full Chrome. That was my bad. Yeah, you shouldn't compile full Chrome if you don't need to. Okay, so with the content shell, I can open one of the tests. So if I open one of the tests, like so, we can see that we get one failure for this particular test. But if I open, let's open 001 tentative HTML. So this is the basic test, right? And so if we look at this test, this says, when it loads, sorry, I've just noticed the chats. Are all pseudo classes enabled for the part? No, yeah, it's some pseudo classes. It's not all. There's a list. There's some certain heuristics. I think tree-abiding pseudo classes are not supported because they would infer too much about the shadow tree and break encapsulation. One might argue that the has slotted breaks encapsulation because it lets you know that your part is a slot element, but apparently this is fine. This is fine information to know. I don't pretend to have all of the details on all of this stuff, but I'm informed by people much smarter than me that it's fine, so I will do what they say. So this is a basic test, right? So we've got this has slotted pseudo class, and we set background color to green, and the test passes if it is filled with a green square. And this isn't a manual test. This will there's an expectation file that renders this output, and it does kind of like image diffing. It actually like builds a layout block thing, which I can show you, but you can at least see the visual equivalent as well by booting up the content shell. Luke asks, does the content shell have access to Chrome URLs? I have no idea, but we can find out. Chrome, what, flags? Nope. It does not look like it does. It's a pretty rudimentary browser, as you can see. It's just enough to get the tests running, but as opposed to the full version of Chrome, which takes about 9 hours to compile on my machine, the content shell is half the amount of files, and so it takes about half the amount of time. It takes about 4 hours. So it's quite a lot faster. That's a fresh, like, full compile. Okay, cool. So that's the first one passing. We have passed the other few, and I'll show them for good measure. So there's a variety of little tests here. Yes, Luke says, unfortunately you need the Chrome URLs for the project he's working on, so that means a full build. And commiserations. Because yeah, full builds suck. Googlers have access to something called Reclient, which is a massive shared build server, and their full compile for a Googler takes about 20 minutes and is mostly bandwidth constrained because it's downloading all of the object files in the shared cache. But yeah, 20 minutes versus 9 hours is very good. I have been pestering a few Googlers for Reclient access, and I'm getting very close, so I hope within the next couple of days I will have Reclient access, and I will too be an enjoyer of 20-minute compiles. But you do have to sort of know who to ask and then beg for access, which is fine. So this test passes if there's a green filled square because the slot content is empty. And as you can see, has slotted has background color of red, but there's nothing being slotted here. And so has slotted shouldn't apply. So this is the inverse test. So that's that one. And then 3, I think we have a 3. What is this test? So this test... this test is a div. And I think the first test was some text content. And so has slotted applies if you have an element, but it also applies if the slotted contents are text nodes. So you could just have, like, this could just be the string hello or something, right? It just needs to be a text node, it doesn't need to be a full element. So that's those. The problem that we have at the moment, which we need to work on, is changing slot contents doesn't do style invalidation, and that's why we get this fail. And that is because the test here, it does something different. It uses JavaScript. The magical technology allows dynamism on web pages. And so what we have is a P. The style says if it's not slotted, it should be blue. But if it is slotted, it should be green. And then the script, the Java scripts, do a test, and they say like swap in and out these nodes, right? And so we should see the transformation between these two colors. It should go between green and blue, and as you can see, it then asserts that these things happen, and that's what we're getting the failure for. And that is because we haven't done style invalidation. So we now need to go and do style invalidation, which is pretty easy. So if we go to the HTML slot element, I'll also get the HTML slot element header file. So this is the header file for the HTML slot element, and the reason I pulled this up, this is this the header file? This doesn't look like a header file. Yeah, it's a header file. Why is there a lot of C in or C++ in the header file? Someone has been very naughty, and this isn't just definitions. This is like logic. Anyways, so here is the internal members of the HTML slot element. So a slot element keeps around this assigned nodes array. This is a vector, so it's an array, and it's stored on the heap, and that just means main memory rather than like register memory. And it is a member, which just means it supports tracing, so it can do garbage collection stuff of nodes. And it's so it's a vector of assigned nodes. That's the thing that we really care about. Whenever this changes, whenever we mutate this, so for example, throughout the C code, so like here, we need to do some kind of style invalidation, and we should also do that here. And so we need to do like style invalidation something or other, and then we tell it that like we're about to change the value of the has slotted pseudo class. It could potentially change, right? So this is the equivalent of the CSS will invalidate, or whatever it is, will change. But we need to tell it that we're going to change it. Then we change it, and then once this gets destructed, i.e. the end of the function is reached, then we can rerun this bit of code. It does that automatically for us. So we just need to do this thing here. And I forget the function name, so we're going to have to look it up somehow. I think it is literally style invalidation, but I could be wrong. Style invalidator. Yeah, I think it's maybe style invalidator. And if we have a look at style invalidator, maybe it's not, or maybe style invalidator, invalid style, invalidate style. Should we see if this has lots of references? Suddenly I'm less confident. I could have sworn it was style invalidator. Well, so one thing we can do is we could have a look for something equivalent. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe it's a style recalc change. I don't think it is. Does it need to do recalc? I'm trying to think of another pseudo class that's simple enough that we could look at. I'm pretty sure we don't need to do recalc. Pseudo class style invalidation. Pseudo class style. Doesn't look like it's pseudo class style invalidation. Look at popover open. Very good point. Let's go look at popover open. So I guess that's an HTML element CC. CPP. What is it? It's CC. Let's have a look. Popover open. Update popover attribute. It's probably in something like hide popover internal, right? Let's have a look. Hint stack, hide popovers until, popover ready. Transition behavior. I can't see anything. I guess the easy thing to do is look for style. Update style and layout tree for element sounds interesting. Document update reason. Did I scroll past it? Pseudo class change. I couldn't see that. Let's was it pseudo class change? I can't find that. Let's go back to hide popover internal. Pseudo state changed. Yeah, this is the one. This should be the one that that we use. So wherever I put my style invalidation nonsense, so this should be pseudo states changed. I guess pseudo type. Okay, pseudo popover open. I'm guessing this is where I would have had my other type for how slotted. So let's try it. CSS selector. Okay, pseudo as slotted. And I get the sense that this is going to need to be put after. We're probably also going to need to put it as part of a sign, which is this one. And so well, we've got slots did change. Which might be the right place to put this. If I just shove this here, that might be sufficient. And then we'll rerun the test and we'll see if it passes. Once we compiled these 12 files, there we go. Cool. Let's see if we pass the tests. We failed the tests. So let's look more closely at the tests and actually see what they do, because it could be that we failed just part of the test. Oh, this is the output. This is the div here. So the script tag, let's have a look. So what do? We get the target, we get the computed style, we assert that the color is green. We then clear it out. So at the moment it's blue. If I delete this node and we insert the slot elements, get computed style, color. Oh, cool. Did we just we just crashed? Why did we just crash? Invalid result for property EPUB caption side. Oh, on the debug property iterator, it looks like the DevTools debugger probably crashed for I don't know why, but so that's fun. So let's try again. As you can see, this test environment can get pretty ropey. It's very slow and yeah, as it has a tendency to fail. So why don't I, in a separate window, we want to say get computed style $0 color. Whoops. Oh. Pasting. Okay, so it's black. That seems not right. Because the Shadowroot styles say, oh, the P should be, I think these tests may be wrong. This doesn't ring correct to me. So we get the test element, which is this div. We get the target. I'm gonna go look at the test file in the editor. What is it? Third party. Well, actually, it's in here. Has slotted, changed. 0, 1. So we've got a. Oh, okay. So the slot element is here. The P element is adjacent in the shadow root. So the P element should be red. So if we click the P element here and we paste, right? So this is red. No, this is blue. Why is this blue? The slot element, if we go to the slot element and we look at the signed nodes, which is a function, right, it's empty. So if the slot element is not has slotted, which is true, it has no assigned elements, right? So there's nothing slotted. The P should be blue. Whoops. And we are, if I can get the right node, and we are blue. So this is correct. Then if we add a white space, so test.innerHTML, just add a blank white space, we should be able to, yeah, so we're asserting this. This should be now green, not blue. But style invalidation hasn't happened for whatever reason. And if we like fudge it by like ground or pink. If we try and get the new computed style, oh, the test is wrong. Says Luke. Let's see if it's wrong. So the slot with a p tag, the color assertions are wrong way round. Yeah, I didn't write this test, by the way, just for clarification. Westbrook of the Web Components Community Group did. It's very difficult to write tests speculatively because you have no idea if they're right, really. You just have to like eyeball it. So much respect to Westbrook for writing these tests, but yeah, I had a sense that it might be a case that we need to like go through very slowly and assert each one is doing the right thing. So let's do that. So we get the target, we get the computed style, we assert that the color should be green. It should be green because it has nothing in the slot, right? And so this is not has slotted. So not has slotted is like if has slotted is the array is 1 or more, not has slotted is the array is 0, which is correct. So this should be blue, and therefore you're right, Luke, this should be blue here. Yes, the selector sets blue. When we set the inner HTML, the selector should be green because this should no longer apply. Then we call replace children with nothing, and so the selector should be blue. We append a div, and so the selector should be green. We create a text node and call replace children. It should still be green. Then we set inner HTML to empty, so it should be blue. So yeah, all of the asserts were the wrong way around, which is, you know, fine. It's understandable that these things happen. So this should be correct. Now, if we rerun the tests, oops, I accidentally killed the wrong thing. That's going to take a second to boot back up. If we rerun the tests, though, we should hopefully see them pass. We still see them fail. Yeah, that's not great. So what I am tempted to do, well, we added, where did we add this pseudo state changed? We added it on the manual slot assignment, I guess, and we added it on clear. There'll be other places. If we look for assigned nodes, so this recalc assignment is quite an interesting function. I'd like to look more at that, but that looks like it's part of a separate file, I guess. Get slot assignment. Set needs assignment recalc. This is very interesting. I guess this is going to be part of Shadowroot CC. Yeah. So maybe this is the right place to do. Well, this is actually more challenging than I thought, which is common utterance. Yeah, so the slot assignment. This isn't even in here. Let's have a look at, let's get one of these functions. Whoops. So there's a slot assignment file. Schedule layout tree. It may be. Well, let's take this through. So, slot assignment. Set needs assignment recalc. Says if it's connected, then we're going to get the slot assignment engine and we're going to add shadow root needing recalc. It feels like maybe we're barking up the wrong tree. I don't know. Anyways, we schedule layout tree update if needed. Has pending update. Should needs tree. Schedule layout tree update. This just get frame, make mark cache dirty. Yeah, I think this is the wrong thing to look at. Is there a space or semicolon somewhere that shouldn't be in the test? Shouldn't be in the test. Let's go have a look. This looks fine to me. I mean, we can break this up a little bit, right? So test. What are we testing here? We are testing that if you load up the test fail again and read it, it doesn't make sense. I don't know that it is the invalidation. Okay, we can have a look at that. It's still going on here. So you're suggesting that, like, if we just manually tried to do this, that we could invalidate. So if I said inner HTML is a white space, it should go green. There it goes green. And if I clear it out, it goes blue. So maybe the invalidation is working. Let's say replace with. No, replace children. Document, create element, div. Goes green. Goes blue. Yeah, so the invalidation is working, so maybe you're right, the test is wrong. Let's have a look at the test again then. So we call get computed style on the target, which is the P. We get the color, and we assert when it's empty, it should be blue, which is correct. We then populate it. We assert it should be green. I'm going to split these out. I do think that would be useful. So empty node is blue. Setting inner HTML to white space, invalidates and becomes green. If you read the message, it says expected blue got blue. Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Huh. I did not pay attention enough for that. RGB 0,0,255 0, there's a double space there. Yeah. Damn. I would have been hung up on that for ages. Thank you for calling that out. So, setting what? Calling replace children empty. So the matching is wrong. Yeah. What's this one? This one is calling append invalidates and becomes green. And Calling replace children text node invalidates and becomes green, and name. That's weird. Does that have a name the whole time? Whatever. This is going to be setting inner HTML to empty string invalidates and becomes blue. And what I'm going to do as well is I'll add a T. I'll add a cleanup to just say test inner HTML is empty. Yeah. Yep. Not needed. What we will do is we'll say replace children document create element div. This should then let's just assert that we've got this. Oh, we also need to. We actually don't need test here because we can use HTML DDA, can't we? Or HTML IDs. We don't need to const up the test. What else? We do need target in each one though, so let's add target to each one of these functions. Replace children. This needs a cleanup. This one needs a cleanup. This one needs a cleanup. This one shouldn't need a cleanup. But what we can do is say document create element div. Cool. So they're all isolated now. So each one goes through an invalidation cycle using a different API to test all the invalidations. It looks like we've got a working set of invalidation. So maybe what we should do is just run the test and see what happens. And we got some fails. Cannot read. See, now they're all separate tests, which is a little bit easier to kind of consume. Let's have a look. We've got empty node is blue. Cannot read properties undefined. Get element by ID. Test. ID is test. Huh. Curious. Oh, it's clobbering. This needs to be a different name. Nuts to it. We'll just const test document get element by ID test. We'll keep this. It doesn't really harm anything. Yeah, a container would have been a good one. I'm already in here now. I'm committed to pasting this line in every test though. It's happened. Refresh. Okay, cool. So now we've got some interesting ones. So T. We just need to do this for each one. Oops, TJ. Refresh, pass, fail. Okay, reference error target's not defined. This is because we just need to do this. Refresh. We have a set of passes. Excuse me, sorry. Okay, so this is looking good. Let's red green it though, because I don't want to just live life not knowing, you know? So let's remove this and remove this one and this one. I think that was all of them, and we'll recompile. And then what we should be able to do is see a whole sea of red. Let's have a look. Okay, great. So some of these are going to pass because I get the sense that, well, so this one will pass because there was no actual mutations that went on. This one passes potentially because replace children kicks off a whole different invalidation routine, as maybe set inner HTML also does. We could look at them more closely though, just to confirm. So like, yeah, we do an append and an inner HTML. I wouldn't be surprised if these are like the kind of nuclear option for style invalidation. I wouldn't be surprised if the whole element gets recomputed for styles. But also it's asserting that it's blue. So it could be that it never invalidated it and it's just coincidentally passing. And maybe the same is true here, that replace children. So what we could also do for belt and braces is just add an assert here that it should be green. So calling replace children invalidates emptying with replace children becomes blue. And so this is the two tests in one now, so we can find the other replace children test, which was this one. But this was with a text node. And so maybe we'll do the same kind of test here. And so we can say something like this. And then this one, which was blue, we also want to maybe this one we did one with white space, didn't we? So we could do like so setting it to white space invalidates and becomes green, emptying with or like then empty string becomes blue. So now we should have a pretty guaranteed set of failures, which is great. So this more thoroughly tests invalidation, I think, because each test, apart from the first one, but each test kind of sets up some state and then clears it out, and then that's when you get this like flipping between green and blue. So I think this is a potentially more thorough test. So this is good. I'm pretty happy with this. So now if we just add the did slot change, this is what I'm curious about as well. Is this just sufficient enough, this did slot change? Is this just enough to cause all of these to pass? Because we had two here, right? We had this one and we had the one in append assigned node. But append assigned node, well, it doesn't actually get called anywhere, which is interesting. So yeah, these are all passing now. So maybe we don't need it here. Maybe we can just do it in the slot change. Maybe that's sufficient. The question could then be, is that too late? What was it? It was a host. No, has slotted. Did slot change. Yeah, is this called too late in the sequence of things? Is there a way that we can observe the style and validation beforehand? But I can't think of a good... Maybe we can check assign manual assignment. But this is also what I want to do is... we have another test here, right? So this has changing 1. So if we look at has slotted changing 2... oh, this does some other tests, which is interesting. It has a different shadow root. This has nested shadow roots as well. There's some missing tests here around manual assignment, and I think that's also important. I think we should check those because manual assignment could potentially be a trickier one. I don't think it will, because I think the slot changed. Callbacks will the the slot changed event, should I say, the did slot changed like function that fires the event should probably be sufficient. But we'll test both to make sure. Let's go through this one, maybe do a bit of refactoring as well. So we get the inner, the target, the styles on the target should be green. Is this one again in reverse? We got the white space there, so we need to fix that. I'm going to clean this up a tiny bit because this is a bit weird to look at. I prefer a bit of a nesting here. So, whoops. Double space in the blue var. Yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for that, Luke. Hello. Right, we've already got some problems. So the template, that is my problem. Wait, is it? The slot goes there. Div, template div. Yeah, cool. Okay, so this one is this one's the same thing, right? It's green if it has slotted, and if it's not has slotted, it's blue. Same here. So the green, so this should be green if it's slotted, which it is because the slot element will slot inside this slot element. So it's correct to be green because this target, this slot, is slotted because it has this slot. Unless we're assuming that the slot doesn't slot. But I think the slot will come up as an assigned node. Would it? That's a good question. Well, I guess we'll find out by running the tests. Let's give them a quick run, in fact. Let's... So this is interesting. This isn't coming up with the entire test harness. So is there a failure or something? Unexpected token. Oops. So this says slot with slotted inner slot with slotted slot element should be green. I don't know. That makes sense in my head. Replace children. We want to do the assert. We want to do... Hello. Test. I think these are slightly wrong again as well because well, so I think first we need to check whether or not a slot gets assigned into a slot, which I'm pretty sure it does. So this slot element, yeah, you can even see it here. It has this slot element embedded in, right? So the assigned nodes here is going to be at least one. So actually what I think would be useful here is to say... in the nested context, is the, can I do I couldn't do... Could I do slotted? As slotted? So this will target the... No, this would at the very least need to be this. Let's make this red. Yeah, so I'm curious if... I think these DevTools windows don't get deduplicated. Also, I think it's crashed. So yeah, I'm curious if has slotted. We should be able to check if has slotted inside of this shadow root, right? Like we should be able to target the slot element from here. Excuse me. So matches slotted slot should be true. Weird. Why is that not true? That should be true, right? Huh. I'm sure that should be true. This element... Or maybe matches... maybe it's this element that is actually plotted. No. Maybe I need to do... Query selector? Null. That should target that. If I'm in here... Oops. That should definitely be valid. Oh well. I'm not even sure if there is a strong use case for testing nested styles for has slotted. Well, having said all of that, maybe part, right? If this was a part slot, if we had a style here that said part slot, the inner, so we've got this shadow DOM, so div will have a part slot. We should be able to test as slotted here. And so I think if we move these styles, I'm going to move this here. I think this makes more sense as a nested test because If the styling invalidation happens on one layer, it's going to happen on every layer. The interesting part is what happens when you cross layers, and the only way you can really do that is with something like part. And so we want to make sure that invalidation trickles through, which, like, it kind of does anyway, so this is all a bit of a redundant test in some sense, but I think this would make more sense to assert that this behavior works. Because potentially... I know I've had trouble before with part invalidation in WebKit, so I think this could have some validity as a test. So I think I'm going to go with this. So so we've refactored it so that it used to be the P was inside the inner, it's now in the outer, and instead we're going to check for whether or not the part is slotted or has slotted, which should be green by default. Well, it should be... This needs to be plus P. Maybe this needs to be... not has slotted. In this case, the inner slot slotted with a slot element should cause target to be green. And then the... So then we need to... So then we're... Right, so we're doing the same thing here, right? We're gonna... It doesn't make any sense, though. This should be... Has slotted... The part will always be slotted because of the slot element. I think this test was predicated on the fact that slot elements don't reflect in, but that's not the case. So I'm kind of half tempted to just throw this test away, because I don't think there's a way in which this materially makes sense. Maybe it does. Like, if we... I don't know. If we got rid of this slot, we don't even need that slot because the P is here. The P is going to slot inside of here. But then that's never going to be... Would it make more sense for the P to be outside here? Because then this should reflect in twice. Because it will reflect in here. Does that make sense? Refresh. Oh my word. The style node is actually slotted. That's unreal. This is irrelevant, and again, I'm tempted to kind of throw away this whole test. It's kind of unfortunate that the style node even gets slotted. I mean, it makes sense, but like, there's not really a valid test here because we would need to blow away all of this unless this moved here. Div needs to be there. Like, that would be the only thing that would really make sense. Well, I guess this would even need to move in here. Right? Because then... But we would just have the same set of tests. Like this whole... this whole set of tests could just be applied here in the same context. It's just that we're like nesting one level further. Parameter L is not part of element. Where is L? Styles is not defined. That's a weird... Or is it parameter 1 is not type of element? What is parameter 1? 44. Oh, get compute style, get element by ID target. Right, this needs to be we need to have inner here. And then this becomes inner as well. So if I did inner shadow root, and then we're gonna do test. Oops. Yeah. Not read properties of null. Because this isn't... This is... inner equals test dot shadow root. Yeah, I think this makes more sense. So the inner target, which is P, should be blue because why should it be blue? Because it isn't slotted. Is it slotted? Div. It is slotted though by default, right? Or is it not? Oh no. I'm losing my sensibilities here. So this shadow root, this slot is empty. If it's empty, it shouldn't be green. Not has slotted plus P. We don't need to part anymore either. Not that it makes a difference, but I just want to compare with the HTML a bit closer. This also I'm going to indent because this was a little strange to read as well. Not has slotted plus P should be blue. The target should be blue, not green. Assigned nodes. Oh, hello. Oh, damn. This is because... Whoops. This is because this white space needs to be eliminated. So maybe there was a rhyme and reason for... Does a comment node? Is a comment node counted? I bet a comment node is counted as slotted, isn't it? Text. Where is this text node coming from? It is 2 new lines. Oops. Let's look at this one as well, make sure that we're still passing. So we're failing here because we're slotting somehow. Outrageous. Oh, because of that. Okay. Suddenly it makes a whole lot more sense now why this was, why these white space, why this was like conjoined in this way. That's so tricky. That's not fun. That is genuinely not great. That a white space node. We did discuss this, and it was like it doesn't make sense for has slotted to ignore white space nodes, and that's one of the reasons why we wanted the has slotted functional syntax, because if you wanted to account for white space nodes, you could do this, right? Because this star doesn't mean text nodes, it means any element. And so has slotted star is very different to has slotted, because this text nodes, whereas this is only elements. Yeah, that kind of sucks, but whatever. So we go back to this one. Whoops. So we still have this. Oh, because of this, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Setting inner HTML to white space invalidates and becomes green, and we have a failure here. So expected green. We got blue. Test inner HTML. Get the compute style of the target, and it should be green. Because the target, what I would be interested in is also asserting the inner query selector slot assigned nodes length. Whoops. It's 1. Cannot read properties of null inner. Shadow root, inner.shadow root. Expected 1 got 0 because of the inner HTML. This is just an empty shadow root. Because this needs to be slot, but that's always going to slot it. Shadow root. I'm starting to feel like this test just doesn't make sense. We spent a lot of time trying to like contort a test file to do something. I'm very tempted to delete this test and just do one with manual assignment. So I need to refresh my memory on manual assignment. Manual assignment. Because we don't have any tests, I noticed, for manual assignment. No, not assignment. Slot. Slot assignment manual. Nope. Is slot assignment an attribute? I know it's a property on create shadow, but I'm wondering if it's a if it's on the HTML template element, I guess. Shadow root serializable, shadow root clonable, shadow root delegates focus. There's no manual slot assignment on template root, so we would need to manually create one. So this is going to need to be, so what are we going to do? Let's go back to this and copy this template. And instead of a div, this is going to be a my element. This shadow root mode is open. I don't think you can have declarative shadow roots with manual slot assignment though, so we're going to need to yeet this. Well, if we... This needs to become... Oops. My element template. Because we can't do DSD with manual slot assignment, I don't think. Custom elements define my element. Class extends HTML element. Constructor. Attach shadow. Manual. Wait, slot assignment. Slot assignment. Manual. Mode. Open. My template. Clone node true. Is it contents? Clone node true. Shadow root. Append. And let's have a get slot. This is going to return this dot shadow root query selector slot. And for good measure, we're going to add the test. So we've got a custom element, and it's got a light dumb child. We've got a template with a slot. However, it's going to be slot assignment manual. And so what we should see is when we look at the test, we don't need this inner. So the test should be getting the test element. It should have a target on the inside. It should be blue because it should have nothing slotted, even though there is a text node because we're on manual slot assignment. However, when we then do excuse me, sorry. We then need to we need to assign test slot assign test child nodes 0. Excuse me. So this should assign the text node, and then when we get the computed style, we should be able to say test.slot assign nodes. And we'll comment these out for now because we don't care about those ones. Let's have a look at this test. I think this is more of a test that we want. Hello, we have a failure. Can't see why this is failing. There's a syntax error somewhere, but I can't spot it. It's on line... Oh, must call super from constructor. Well, now we got nothing. Undefined reading clone node. My template. Content. The contents. There we go. Cool. Inner is not defined, so this becomes test. Cool. Assign on HTML slot element. The value is not provided as element or text because test or like oops. Allow pasting. So test child nodes. Children. This has a text node though, right? Test. Oh! The cleanup. The cleanup eradicated the text node. Refresh. Hey, there we go. Okay, so when we assign the node, we get green. Let's not clear that. Let's instead assign nothing. And we should see that. And so then we can say manually assigning a node. It's green. Emptying assignment is blue. Yeah. Great. So I think this is kind of sufficient for manual assignment. I mean, we could also like add another test that does test HTML equals div. And well, assert. Let's do the cleanup there. So we're going to say we'll add a div, which it should still be 0. When we slot children, we could even do spread here. We assign the children. We expect 1, the color to be green. We empty it. Yeah, so assigning a element, and then this can be text node. Yeah, cool. So let's red green this, and host no has slotted. Where was it? Here it is. So if I delete that line, we compile. So this should be red. Fantastic, it's red. And so we can add that back in. So I think this is fully implemented. So we've all we did really is one line of code, which is this pseudo state changed. Let me embiggen this window and we can have a look. So for the last 2 hours, what we've actually done is like capitalize the letter D here, which was a typo in the original PR, and we've added this pseudo state changed has slotted here, and that's all we actually needed in the Chrome code base. We've spent a lot of time on the tests, which is an important part of this, and so I'll reflect these tests in here as well, and we can go do that now quickly, in fact. So yep, I think that's correct. Right, yeah. So here's the new tests that we just wrote. Yeah, I think this is good. So let's add these 2 changes. Let's think about this, because there should be a sync. I want to look at has slotted, see if there's any merged. This one, import. This was yesterday. We want to do a fetch because this is from this PR, I imagine. This one, content. Yeah. So this was the latest PR that Westbrook did, which we can go have a look at, but is essentially some of the new changes. We want to take this. We want to rebase on top of this. So this just got merged. So we should be able to rebase. Whoops. We should be able to rebase what we have. What are we? 1 hour 34. Could apply auto stash. Do the CP again. Let's embiggen this window as well. So we want this change. We want this change. Oh, hello. Let's add those. Did the rebase not actually work? Did it just abort? Let's clean. Let's check out dot. Clean. rebase. Okay, let's rerun this copy. We should have G client sync. I need to get rid of. I need to run this command to get rid of some of this messy diff, because there's a bunch of submodules that need to be checked out. Cool. Why are we laggy? No idea what that was. I think I was running a VM. Cool. So these are the tests that we changed, and we want to do those as well. So yeah, I'll upload. So what have we done today? We did we changed a bunch of the tests around invalidation, and we just added that one-liner to do invalidation. And now I think we're good. We're really cooking now. So invalidation. So if we go back to our CL, this one. Sweet. So just to double check what we have, if we look at patch set 2 versus patch set 1, this is the work that we've done today. So that capital D, pseudostate changed, and these test files. I think this is good. I think this is in a good place. If we look at the in total change set, we can see all of the changes. So inserting this has slotted, adding a bunch of the slotted elements, slotted enums in all of the places that we got compile errors for. We've got this. This is the actual functionality of the has slotted check. It just checks has assigned nodes. We reinvalidate whenever did slot change fires. And we've added the feature flag for has slotted. And yes, change some tests, because these tests, I think, we're in a good place with these tests now. So that's total change set. Wonderful. Hour 40. We have... I spent about 2 hours on this yesterday, so, you know, more than I really wanted to, but 4 hours to implement has slotted. Yeah, I think that's going to be it. I'm going to go for a break for a couple of hours, because I actually need to do some real work. Then what I'm going to do is probably try this in Firefox. So you'll catch me in a couple of hours. I'll have to look at the exact times. Let me go look at the exact times right now, and we'll find out. Hold on a second. Ooh. Firefox 131 is going to go live today. I can do... yeah. Probably 2 till 4. So I will be back in 2.5 hours. That's 2 PM my time, UK time, and we'll take a stab at this in Firefox. Yeah, we'll add has slotted to Firefox. We'll make a patch. I've already sent out an intent to prototype email, so they know it's coming. But yeah, I'll add. I'm gonna add Joey. I'm gonna add young Joseph and Luke. Tell you what. You get to be added as well. Please review my CL for has slotted. Thank you very much. And let's do a dry run. And the dry run's going to run all of the unit tests. Yeah, we'll see how this goes. All right. I will see you in 2.5 hours for the same thing again, but in a different browser. Bye for now.